Hi, my name is Emily. I'll be guiding you through a gentle yoga class today. This is a beginner class that's going to focus on balance. So we'll be building a firm foundation, strength in the body, and cultivating a sense of courage from within. Before we get started, just a couple things. Always honor your body and what you need today. That might mean skipping a pose entirely. It might mean slowing down or taking a moment to sit or go into child's pose. Now, a couple things. We may need a couple different props. I have a block, a blanket, and a strap here. Now, if you don't have a strap, I recommend grabbing a long towel, rolling it up. We'll be using that for a stretch. All right, let's get started. Meet me on your back. All right, so lowering all the way down onto your back to get started. Now, a couple options. You can butterfly the knees open, bringing the soles of the feet together. This is gonna find a stretch in your inner hips. Now, if that feels like too much for today, you can straighten the legs out or have the knees bent and allow the knees to fall in towards each other. So take a moment, find what feels comfortable for you. And then just allow the arms to rest on the belly or down by the sides. And then close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just taking a few moments, shifting away from whatever else is going on in your life. And allowing yourself to arrive in the present moment. So especially when working on balance, we may notice some fear, some anxiety that comes up. So from the beginning, let's see if we can ground our energy. And coming from a place of rooted openness. Just feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Notice the support of the ground beneath you. And together, let's take a deep breath in. And an open mouth exhale, let it go. Once again, inhale. An audible exhale. One last time, deep breath in. And deep breath out. Nice, just seal your lips. And start to breathe in and out through your nose. So whenever we start to feel a little overwhelmed, a little off balance, just coming back to your breath. Allow it to be your anchor. So as long as you're breathing, you're doing yoga. And when you're ready, drawing the knees in towards the chest, you can blink your eyes open and just finding a little rock side to side. Massaging your lower back, your spine. Might feel good to circle out the knees a couple times, letting go of any tension that you're holding there. And then keep your right knee hugged in and extend the left leg straight out. All right, so making sure that your strap is to the side or your towel. And we'll start by hugging the right knee in, hands interlaced below the knee. Either plant the left foot on the ground or extend the left leg all the way out. And just begin to use the strength of the arms to draw the right knee up and in towards the right armpit. And just a couple times, I want you to start to bring some movement into the ankle. So creating little circles. And then switching out the direction. And so really bringing attention to our feet. That's our foundation. And that's where we're going to build our balance from. And a couple times, start to flex through the right foot and then pointing through the toes. So articulating through the foot nice and slow. Do one more. And then relax the foot and find your strap. We're going to come into a hamstring stretch. So unwinding your strap. So it goes to the ball mound of the right foot. And then you can slide the hands down one side of the strap in either hand. Maybe a soft bend in the knee. And we're just going to take a couple rounds of breath here. So you're really going to notice the stretch in the back of the leg getting into this right hamstring. So on the inhales, feel as if you're finding length in the leg. And on the exhales is when you can slightly deepen. Now remember, we're never forcing the body into any pose or any stretch. And so you want to take time to find what we call the edge. So it's this place where you're feeling sensation, but it's not too much, it's not too little. So it's this Goldilocks pose where it feels just right. So just building that awareness. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. And then take your strap, release it towards the side, and just slowly lower the right leg back down. And I just want you to pause here for a moment, both legs extended straight out. And notice how that first side feels. Maybe you notice a little bit more length, more space. Maybe the leg even feels longer. Take another round of breath. And then when you're ready, hugging in the left knee, hands interlaced below the knee. Remember, the right leg can be extended out or the foot on the ground if it's not comfortable to extend the leg. And start to draw the left knee up and in towards the armpit. So you want to find a gentle compression. And then a couple times, start to roll out through the left ankle. And maybe you start to notice any differences between the two sides. Maybe one side feels a little easier to move. Just switch out the direction. And just developing this awareness of the subtle aspects of the body. And just pausing and flexing through your left foot. And then starting to point through the left toes. A couple times articulating through the foot. One more. And relaxing the foot, take a hold of your strap. We'll move onto the left side for the hamstring stretch. Once again, the right leg can be extended or the leg can be bent. We're really focusing on the back of the left leg, the left hamstring. The elbows are heavy by the sides, using the weight of your arms to find depth. Remember, soft bend in the knee is always okay. Sometimes the hamstring is pretty tight. And just breathing into it, finding that steady, even breath in and breath out. Nice, just a couple more rounds of breath. Great. Release the strap from the left side. And then slowly lower the left leg back down. Just extend both legs out again. Pause here. Notice that length. And then bring the feet to the ground. And we're gonna move into a stretch for the glutes, the outer hips. Start by taking the right ankle to the top of the left thigh. And then flexing through the right foot to protect the knee and gently pressing the right knee forward. And maybe this is enough intensity, just stay here, breathe into it. Now, if it's not quite enough, start to float the left leg off the ground, and then the right hand comes in through that opening, and the hands can interlace behind the left thigh. And some people like to hold onto the top of the shin. That will deepen it a little further. Keep pressing the right knee forward, so away from the body to keep the stretch. Just a couple rounds of breath. If the left leg is lifted, keep gently drawing it closer in. So maintaining that edge. And then gently release, unwind, and we'll switch it out. The left ankle to the right thigh. Flex the foot. Press the left knee forward. Once again, tune into the sensation. If you feel like it's enough, stay there. Or lift the right leg and hands interlace. And once again, you may notice that one side feels way tighter than the other. So if you need to make some adjustments, that's okay. And then gently release and bring the feet back down to the ground. Now, make sure the feet are hip width distance, so about the distance of your hip bones. And then walk the heels a little closer in towards the body, so towards the glutes. And we're gonna work into bridge pose. This is gonna help strengthen the legs, the core, and the glutes. When you're ready, press into the feet and then tuck, curl, and lift the hips up towards the sky. Now we're not arching the back, we're just finding this straight line from the knees towards the chest. Feel the butt muscles engage, feel your thighs working, and your belly pulled in. Keep pressing the earth away, making sure the hips don't sink down. and then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, from the upper back to the mid back to the low back, lowering down. And then pause at the bottom. Take a breath in and a breath out. Nice. All right, so keeping the legs just as they are, and we're going to start to wake up the core a little bit. So having a nice strong core is going to help with your balance. It's going to help with mobility and stability. So starting nice and easy, there's an exercise called grabbing oranges. So start by reaching your left hand towards the top right corner and feel the belly engage. And just switching it out nice and slow. See if you can reach nice and high. The shoulder lifts away from the ground as you reach. Now see if you can notice the belly tightening as you lift up. So you want to be finding that engagement. Nice. Now, if you want a little bit more, you can lift the head and shoulders off the mat as you grab up for the orange. Keep on going. Just finding your pace and your layer. Making sure the belly is pulled in. All right, let's do one more round. And release. Extend the legs out. Extend the arms overhead and find a full body stretch. Lengthen wall to wall. And then taking your time, we're going to meet in a comfortable seated position. I like to roll onto one side and then gently press into the hands to lift yourself up. So we're finding a seated position, and if you notice, if there's any rounding in the low back, take a hold of your blanket and slide it underneath you. That's gonna help elevate the hips and keep a nice long spine. So once you get comfortable, hands resting on the knees, close your eyes or soften your gaze. And feel the sit bones heavy on the ground, finding length in your spine, reaching the top of your head towards the ceiling, growing tall, and allowing the shoulders to relax away from the ears. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. And then just start to bring some movement into the shoulders, up and down the back a couple times. And you can switch out the direction, going from the back to the front. And then relax the shoulders back down. Moving into the head and neck, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then just coming through center and over towards the left. So just a couple times, go side to side. Notice any tension you're holding. And just see if you can soften it on your exhales. Do one more round. And then return to center, sit nice and tall. And you can blink the eyes open. We'll move into a side body stretch. Root down through your right hand and then start to reach the left arm up and over. The palm faces down, and notice this left hip isn't lifting off the ground. It's staying rooted. You'll find length along the left side body. And then come back to center, switch it out, left hand roots down, reach the right arm up and over. Energy through the fingertips. Keep the right shoulder soft, and either gazing forward or gaze up towards the hand if that feels safe in your neck. Come back to center. We'll flow through, reach up and over towards the right. Keep the heart lifted and open. And then coming back to center and over towards the left. One more time. Keeping a long spine, an open heart. Last one. And then return to center. We're going to come into a seated twist. Take your right hand to your left knee. And then the left fingertips just lightly behind the base of the spine. First, grow tall. Lengthen in your spine. And then start to gently twist. Remember, we're not forcing the twist. Keep your heart lifted. The shoulders relax down the back. Nice. 2 more rounds of breath here. And then come back to center. Switch it out. Left hand to the right knee. Left fingertips lightly behind you. Inhale, lengthen in the spine, and exhale, gently twist. So the crown of the head is reaching towards the ceiling. We're twisting from the torso, gently, with ease. Beautiful. Come back to center. Once again, sit tall. And I want you to take the hands and interlace the fingers. And we're just going to find some figure eights. So bringing some attention to the hands and the wrists. We tend to use them a lot. And so just giving them a little bit of love. And then switching out the direction. Nice, and then just take the hands, palms facing forward, keep the shoulders plugged in, and reach the hands forward away from you. Take a breath here. And then gently release the hands back down towards the knees. We'll find a seated cat-cow. On your inhale, pulling the heart forward, the shoulders draw back. On the exhale, cat round in your spine. On the inhales, reaching the heart forward, find length. And on the exhale, intentionally rounding, chin comes towards the chest. 3 more times, nice and slow. One last one. Pause and center, find length. Let's take a breath in and a cleansing breath out. We'll move into some torso circles. So you're gonna bring the chest towards the right. As you travel through center, the heart reaches, traveling towards the left, and then holding on to the knees as you round back. So this is similar to cat-cow, but we're adding in this circular motion. And the circles can be as big or as small as you want. It's like you're stirring a pot of soup. Let's do one more in this direction. And then pausing at center and switch it out, balance out the body. And maybe your eyes are closed during this time, helping to shift the attention inward. One more round. And then come back to center, sit nice and tall. Close the eyes. And just bring your palms to touch at heart center. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. We're just going to take a moment to set an intention for the rest of our practice. And I wanted to share a little passage from Zen Soup. And it's on courage and just addressing that fear that comes up with balancing. Too often we think of ourselves as weak candles that can be blown out by the slightest wind of frustration and disappointment. How much better to say, I will become a bonfire and dare the world to put me out. So take a moment, just letting that sink in. And on your inhale, breathing it in. And on your exhale, sending it out. Beautiful, eyes open. Let's find our way into a tabletop position on the hands and knees. All right, tabletop position on the hands and knees. So notice that your shoulders are directly stacked over your wrist and your hips directly over your knees. If there's any discomfort in the knees, maybe take a blanket or some padding and slide it underneath. And just take a moment, find a flat back and feel the belly pull in. We're gonna move into a little bit of balancing. I want you to reach your right leg back and keep the right toes on the ground to start out. Keeping the right hip down in line with the left. So we're not opening the hips up, we're keeping them facing down. And then a couple times, start to press forward and back through the foot. You may notice a little bit of a stretch in your calf. And then come back to center, press the earth away. If you feel like your balance is challenged, stay here. If you want to add on, start to float the right leg up to hip height. Keep the belly pulled in tight. Energy reaching through the toes. Really nice. Keep the gaze down towards the front of your mat so the back of the neck stays long. And then gently release with control. Lower the right knee back down. Dog wagging its tail. Bring your gaze over the right shoulder towards your right hip. Come back to center. Gaze over the left towards the left hip. Come back to center. Extending the left leg back and a couple times pressing forward and back through the heel. Notice if there's any tightness in the left calf. Come back to center. Once again, keep the hips even. You can stay here, layer 1, or layer 2, float the left leg off the ground to hip height. Belly pulled in, so we're engaging our core to help us balance. Keep pressing the earth away. And then release with control. Lower the knee back down. We're gonna find child's pose. Bring the knees out a little wider, the toes towards each other. Maybe a blanket for underneath the hips and start to send the hips back. Walk the hands forward. Maybe your hips reach towards your heels, maybe they're far away. But wherever you are, just taking this moment to pause, to come back to your center. Sending the breath into the back body, finding that expansive breath. Maybe it feels good to gently rock your forehead side to side a couple times. Take your time. We'll slowly press back up. And we're gonna find our way into standing. So meet me there, however it is easiest for you. So coming into standing, bring your feet about hip width distance so we can find some sense of stability. And arms relaxing down by the sides, palms facing forward. And then feel engagement in the front of the legs, so the quads, lifting them away from the kneecaps, and feel the belly pull in again, nice and tight. Now the eyes can stay open or gently close them, and we're gonna start to find our balance. See if you can shift the weight forward and back in the feet. Just a couple times. It can be really small. Getting used to shifting our balance. Maybe you keep the eyes open. So finding your comfort level. And start to create small little circles in one direction. So I really want you to feel into all the different corners of the feet. Nice. And then switching out the direction. Making sure that the movement is coming from the feet and it's not just the rest of the body. So feel into the different corners of the feet. Just one more. And then come back into stillness. And feel the feet rooted. Feel your foundation, your stability. Let's take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. Eyes open if they are closed. We'll move through our Sun A. Sweep the arms overhead. Palms facing in. Relax the shoulders away from the ears and lifting up through your side waist. So you're lifting up through the sides to help you grow tall. And we're gonna find a side body stretch. Release your right hand down towards the side and up and over with the left. Finding length in the left side body. Keep the shoulder relaxed down and back. And then slowly return to center, both arms overhead. And then over towards the left. So release the left arm up and over with the right. Energy through the fingertips, either gazing forward or maybe towards the hand. And then come back to center. Bring the palms to touch. Hands draw in. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. Once again, release the arms down. We'll move through a little faster this time. Inhale, expand up, grow tall. And then up and over towards your right. Find length. Coming back to center with control. And then over towards the left, reaching up. Come back to center. Palms touch, draw the energy in. Hands come to heart center. Pause here. Breath in. And breath out. One last time. Arms release down. Inhale, expand up. Open in your heart. And then over towards the right. Come back to center. And then over towards your left. Come back to center. And then the hands come in towards the heart. Pause there. Breath in. And breath out. All right, release the arms. Take a moment, shake it out, let it go. We're gonna find a wider stance, building some strength in the legs and turning the toes to point out and the heels in. And just take a moment. I just want you to bend your knees a couple times and make sure they're going in line with the toes. So we want to avoid the knees buckling in to protect our joints. Start by finding star pose. Reach the arms out and up. Feel that expansion. And come into goddess. Bend your knees. Hands draw into heart center. Keep the shoulders directly over the hips. Again, straighten the legs and reach the arms out. And then on an exhale, bend the knees. Come into goddess. Let's do 2 more rounds. Nice and slow. Find that flow with the breath. One more time. This time we're gonna hold. So holding in goddess, pause here. Belly is strong, shoulders are back, and heart is lifted for 3, for 2, and 1. Straighten the legs. Nice job. Turn the toes in, parallel the feet. Bring the hands to the hips. Have a soft bend in your knees. We're gonna lower halfway down, hinging from the hips. Keep a flat back and your core tight to protect the lower back. So nice and slow, and just stopping when you find your edge. You'll feel a stretch in the back of the legs. Maybe you stop here, or maybe you lower halfway down. Nice, take a breath. Core engaged, slowly rise up. Bring your hands to heart center. Breath in, breath out. We're gonna work a little bit on our balancing. Find that inner bonfire and move with courage. Start to bend into your right knee and just gently start to shift the weight into the right foot. The left toes stay on the ground. All right, you can always have a chair in front of you for stability. Bend into your left knee and start to bring the weight into the left foot. Right toes stay on the ground. So we're shifting the weight from side to side, and you're keeping the connection to the ground. Nice soft bend in the middle. Now, if you're feeling really sturdy as you shift into the right foot, expand the arms out. Come back in through center, hands to heart again. And then bringing the weight into the left foot, expand the arms out. Remember, you can always keep the hands at heart center the entire time. This is you finding your stability, your balance, and it can look different from day to day. So sometimes we feel really balanced, and other days it's a little off. So wherever you are, Breathe into it. Last round. All right, we're gonna come back into center, hands to heart. Let's take a breath in. Cleansing exhale, let it go. Nice, open the eyes if they're closed and take a moment, shake it out, let it go. So we have one last balancing posture and option to use your block. If you don't have one, then anything that's just gonna help bring a little bit of elevation in front of you, or maybe holding on to a chair, that's a great option as well. We're gonna start by rooting down through the left foot. This is called your standing leg because it's the one standing on the ground. Really notice the left glute, your butt muscle, and feel it engage. That's going to help you balance. Is pulling the belly in, using your core. Hands to the hips or hands at heart center, and bring your right toes on top of the block, or just right out in front of you. And just notice how this feels. So we're not fully on 2 feet. We're growing tall, belly pulled in. Take another round of breath. And then gently release, take a moment. We'll switch it out. And you may notice that one side feels a lot more balanced than the other. So standing leg is the right leg, right glute is engaged, and then bring the left toes to the block. Grow tall, shoulders soft. And it's really gonna help if you find one point in front of you to gaze at. So something that's not moving, not a person or a TV. And then just bringing your gaze there. Take another round of breath. Nice, let's release. So that's layer 1, and you can stay there practicing that if that's your edge today. We'll move into layer 2 if you're ready. Bring the weight back into the left leg. And bring the right toes to the block. And just find that stability like earlier. And this time, see if you can start to lift the right toes off the block. So you're keeping that 90-degree angle in the leg, and maybe you lift it up towards hip height. And remember, the block is right there. If you need to lower it down, drop it down. So maybe you lift and lower a couple times, and you'll probably feel that left glute engage more. All right, release, let it go. Just one more side. Bring the weight into the right foot and left toes come to the block. Remember, you can stay here. It's a perfect place to be. Once you feel sturdy and strong, float the left toes off the block. Remember, it's right there. You can drop it back down. Firming up your left glute, engaging your belly, maybe lifting the knee up to hip height, almost there, keep going. And release with control, just coming out the way that you came in. Both feet on the ground, arms release, and shake it out, let it go. You did it. All right, we're gonna be making our way back down onto the mat. So I will see you on your back. All right, so lowering all the way down onto your back. And from here, we're gonna come into an easy twist. So drop your knees over towards the right. Maybe you place a blanket in between the knees or a block underneath them if they don't quite reach the ground. And then the arms can be out at shoulder height, either straight or cactus like I'm doing. And the gaze can be up, or maybe the chin falls towards the left. And close the eyes or soften the gaze. We're just starting to slow our practice back down twists help to gently wring out the body, rejuvenating the spine, releasing in the lower back. And then come back to center. We're gonna switch it out. Drop the knees towards the left, scoot the hips towards the right. Once again, maybe a block or a blanket in between the knees. And then gaze up or gaze towards the right. But make sure it feels comfortable, you're at ease. We're letting go of that effort. And just wringing out anything that's no longer serving you. A thought, a habit, some physical tension. And then returning to center, we'll find happy baby. Draw the knees outside of the ribs and take a hold behind the thighs to start out. And if that feels pretty easy, you can grab behind the calves or maybe even the outside edges of the feet. But if you notice the hips lifting off the ground, bring the hold a little lower. So the low back stays connected to the ground, and you can start gently rocking side to side, maybe extending one leg out and then the other. Just finding a release. And then draw the knees in towards your chest. Give them a final squeeze. Thank them for everything that they do. And then coming into final Shavasana. And take your time. Maybe you take your blanket over the body or rolled up underneath the knees. The arms out by the side. So just let yourself take up space. And this is just allowing the benefits of your practice to sink in. Returning to an easy, natural breath. Relaxing fully and completely. Soften the muscles in your face. And any thoughts, ideas, stories of what happened in practice or today just simply arise and then float on by. We'll be here for a little bit longer. I'll guide you out when it's time. Feel free to stay here for longer. Otherwise, deepen your breath and start to bring small movements into the fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. And when you're ready, full body stretch, reach wall to wall. And then take your time, just gently rolling over to your favorite side. You can pause there and just pressing into the hands. We'll find our way into a comfortable seated position to close our practice. Sitting tall, shoulders soft, close the eyes. Bringing the hands into heart center and just take a moment. Connect in with that inner bonfire, that courage you cultivated, that inner strength. And seeing if we can bring it into the rest of our day, our week. Let's take a deep breath in. And a cleansing breath out. Namaste.